They are still available, though. You can buy new
But
CDs.
Who would have thought we'd be going retro?
Nobody would have guessed.
Yeah.
All right, we need to take a vote here. Who's purchased a CD in the last year at this table? Raise your hand.
You
what
could go way longer than that.
Douglas raises his hand.
Well, he's not at the table.
Yeah.
So
He doesn't
I
count.
qualified
You
that.
did. No, he should
But
have been
did.
raising his hand.
Yeah, which is why he brought up this
Failure
topic
to
for
follow
us to talk
instruction.
about, because, the question is, and obviously the title of the video is, are CDs dead? And I mean, I guess it depends on who you are and who you ask, but I can't remember the last time I actually bought a CD.
20 years ago.
Well,
Yeah.
for most people, they never really enjoyed buying a CD to have the physical media, the disc necessarily. It was for what the disc contained, what it meant, what you could do with it. Maybe to look at the album art and things like that. But really, you were using the CD as a vessel to get what you really wanted. It wasn't the CD that you really desired. And we kind of have that replaced entirely with streaming in most parts of the world. And there's pros and cons, for sure. But for most people, the benefits of streaming and other services massively outweigh the small downsides of not having physical media.
Well, and I guess I probably should qualify this, is that just because I didn't buy any CDs doesn't mean I didn't play CDs. Because I have CDs. I have
Right.
CDs. My favorite CDs are on, some of my favorite music is on CDs.
But do you use them?
When was the last time you used one?
Well, that's the thing. Since they've been ripped now to a hard drive for years.
Yeah.
And I'd say, honestly, especially now that I've gotten better DACs, that the CD player, I know within probably last year sometime, I didn't have room for it anymore. And it's not even it's in the basement. Done. Unplugged, gone. Don't use it anymore. And it was simply because, and it was probably sitting a good year there without any use to begin with, where I finally said, I'm pulling it out of my sound room because I don't use it anymore, and really it's because the DACs have gotten, we get a higher level of DACs where they're so good where,
Well, and a lot of streamers, too. So
yeah,
it's
right.
all in one.
Where, I got all my CD on an NAS drive or a hard drive, and so the whole collection. So I no longer need the physical medium. It's not necessary. So now that's all sitting there too. In fact, that's still sitting on against the wall,
Yeah, you got a big
hundreds
stack
and
of
hundreds of
CDs.
CDs. Yeah, where I got to figure
They've
out.
been there a while.
I have to put them in a box and keep them. And now you see those so used now a lot forever. Garage sales and stuff. CDs. Everyone's getting rid of CDs because they've done the same thing as me.
They are still available, though. You can buy new
But
CDs.
Yeah.
For me, I think the biggest issue is cost. Because if you want to have the new album and you don't know if you're going to like it, even if it's like $6 or $8, it's kind of annoying to buy it, play a track, and go, I don't like this.
Yeah. Right.
And especially today where you're used to having so many albums at your fingertips, comparatively, the cost of being able to be scattered and jump through random albums, it's staggering. And you have to deal with the media in the car, on your phone, when you travel. Well, obviously, it's super impractical in most of these situations.
He's saying albums, but
Yeah.
now that I've bought.
Okay.
A
Well, yeah,
record, actually 33 RPM record.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
That I've bought
I
recently.
don't know if it maintained, but I know there was a point recently where there was more record sales than CD sales. So.
Yeah.
that makes sense to me, though.
Yeah, if you go by the numbers, in fact, I think that's true.
See,
They're either
vinyl's kind of
equal
more
or
of a novelty.
vinyl's.
It's close, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the CD, you buy it for what it contains, generally speaking, and you could get that replaced typically with streaming. Now, there are some challenges there. You obviously need to have a constant internet connection or have a service that allows downloading temporary local storage, and then you need to do this in advance. And on top of that,
It's a lot
there's
of
some
work.
uncertainty. Usually, it could be a more complicated chain if you're trying to play on like speakers than it would be to have more traditional transport. You put a CD in and you hook it up to your speakers or your DAC or whatever. And it could be a little bit more complicated for some people to get into streaming services and like that.
Well,
stuff.
that's the thing. If you really haven't gone that way, if your system hasn't gone that way,
Mm-hmm.
it does take time. As you get older, change isn't something you look forward
Right.
to. It's just you had enough of that. So it's like, if it works, then the other rule of thumb is if it works, don't fix it.
Oh,
So,
100%.
so I get it. I get it. Where a lot of people say, oh, you'll see people comment in these videos, oh, CDs alive, I buy them all the time. That's
Well,
great.
Yeah, it's not dead.
There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it.
Yeah.
But if you're getting into it and you don't have any equipment, Well, why would you buy a transporter or a CD player and CDs? Today, that really wouldn't be the move most people are going to do. And I guess that's more what we're focused on. People that don't have legacy hardware, they don't really already have things existing. If they're looking to get into a system, they're new to it. CDs just not super practical.
I still hear
most.
people, whatever, the people, customers or whatever, or reviewers that, are talking about getting new transports. And I'm like, transport?
Yeah.
Right.
What are you playing? And it's like, it's kind of funny, but it's a complete opposite way of thinking where I would have been 10 years ago, or less.
Well, I mean, if you look at like the mass market consumers, like everything, computers don't have optical drives anymore, right?
Yeah,
They
right.
haven't for a long time.
It's getting harder to play them.
Cars don't come with them. So,
Right.
Yeah,
for most people,
it's kind of
you can't
wild
even
when you
use
think
them.
about it. Yeah, everything in playback has moved away from solid medium.
yeah, even like game consoles, it's an option to have an optical drive.
Oh,
You
really?
can barely buy CDs now, too.
Wow.
Aside from going to specialty stores or online, it's not like it used to be where there was actual music stores that had walls of CDs. They're getting hard to get. So obviously what that's saying is a combination of factors, but mostly people aren't really buying them.
Yeah, bottom line, if you don't see them anywhere for sale, then obviously they're not in demand
Because I think Target got rid of their CD section.
it's
I think it's
significantly
either very
smaller.
small
Oh, yeah,
or non-existent.
because the vinyl section's growing,
Right.
Yeah,
and
right.
the CD
Taking over.
section's
Yeah.
shrinking.
Which
there might be like one rack.
Which
yeah.
that in itself is kind of weird too, because like I've bought some new vinyl and most of it isn't so good.
Yeah.
And I mean it's the same with CD. It's
Yeah.
the same deal like you said before. I'm going to listen to one track or two tracks and like I hate it and
Right. And that's
throw it in
annoying,
the
right?
corner. And
Vinyl's
it's-
a lot more expensive though.
so I tend to always buy. Usually I prefer buying old vinyl, used
Yeah, but then
vinyl.
it's conditioned.
It's the original recordings, the pressings that were done, in the 70s and 80s, when not the K-Tel records where the best of, but the actual original albums,
It's got that authentic snap, crackle, and pop 70s dirt in there too.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's
Which
different
reminds
than
me,
a
I got to
CD.
get a
Yeah.
record cleaner, ultrasonic.
Because a CD, it's kind of sort of just you're buying the music itself. You're buying the audio. That's at least more or less the feeling. Vinyl kind of is more like you're buying a thing, which doesn't really make any sense because you're buying a thing in both cases, but it feels more like you're buying like an actual item.
To me, it's
physical
like
good
it's
with
like a
vinyl.
treasure hunt. To me,
Well, if you're
Yeah.
talking used, yeah.
yeah. Well, even with new, I mean, it would be great to find a new album that sounds really good.
Well, actually, I
You got to
have
read reviews on that.
I bought 2 NOS new albums that were like 30 years old.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you can still
that's
do
the way
it.
to roll.
Sometimes
You can
yeah.
still do it.
They were
Yeah.
popular enough.
Yeah, and
nice.
some people have really taken care of their shit. Like,
Well, you got the card in there with like mail in, and you're
Mm.
like, oh, this obviously doesn't work anymore.
yeah. Well, what's funny is that the other proof is that there's a chain of small record stores called Revolver that opened up locally here, and they're
Yeah.
just popping up all over the place. Revolver Records. They must have 4 or 5 locations now.
It's funny how that happened. Huh?
Yeah. And I mean, they're selling decent stuff. I walk in there and it's not like someone used it as a frisbee and then
Yeah.
they're trying to pawn it off for $2 on you. They weeded out the shit, and which is smart. I mean,
You have
and
to.
yeah. So you're looking at very good condition or better, and so it's a no-brainer, And it, of course, price the better it is, the better
Well,
condition it is, the more you're going to pay. But some of the stuff, like I just got an original Ricky Lee Jones album, $6. It was really good condition. The one with her with the cigar she's holding, her original
Oh,
Ricky
yeah,
Lee
yeah,
Jones,
yeah.
and I already had one.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this thing was so nice and mint for $6. I'm like, I'm going to have 2.
That's the thing. I have 3 of one album, and like 2 of them are like not good.
Yeah.
And one's like okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the
Well, you wouldn't do that with CDs. Well,
That's
people
right.
probably do.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
But it to get
It's pretty
pretty
uncommon.
You just
destroyed.
forget that you already had it.
Yeah.
Like just scratching it on concrete, and it's like, oh, this doesn't even work anymore. Then
Yeah,
you need
right.
a new one. But
Yeah. CDs aren't so much of an issue.
it's kind of like more of a collector's item, whereas a CD is just like a vessel for entertainment. And yeah, you could get away with it on streaming. So aside from one point that like Douglas brought up, where if you wanted to have the certainty, if you're, say, a reviewer and you don't want to run into the risk of potentially the source format changing or the song that you use as a reference no longer being available, and over spans of months or years, you want to ensure that you have the same media. In that case, I could see having a local rip of your content or having a physical media. That might make sense. But for the average consumer, it's becoming less useful as time goes on. And it's
think-
already been not that useful.
I think the
for
word on
some
this
time.
one, the word on this one ultimately is inevitable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's inevitable that you will move away from any kind of hard media.
Hmm.
It is inevitable. It's just a matter of time.
Pretty
Well,
much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing I only use physical media for is 4K Blu-rays because it's better than the streaming's like a low bit rate compared to the
Right now,
actual
yeah.
disc.
But
So eventually
technical
it'll
limitation.
probably change.
Right.
It might equal, but
Yeah.
right now,
Right. Yeah, it's tough to stream that much information
yeah,
reliably
yeah,
where you're not screwing with your movie.
yeah.
well, in time, it's pretty much all but a guarantee that you could stream at a higher quality than currently available on physical media.
I mean, it just happened with music.
right.
Yeah.
You
That's
think
true.
about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just 2021 for Christ's sakes.
Took a
2021.
long
Yeah,
time.
it took actually, right.
Remember how
For
long
Apple.
people were talking about Apple to do high res?
Yeah.
It was like 10 or 15 years ago or something like
Yeah,
that, I
right.
think, where people were saying, "Oh, I think this means that Apple's going to do this or that." Never happened.
Yeah.
And that's relatively low bit rate compared to uncompressed like 9 channels or whatever it is now, and
Yeah.
UHD video.
With the latest hotness, Dolby,
Yeah.
or whatever the audio tracks are on that.
Yeah.
I
But just now, pretty much everybody's adopting it. Higher quality than CD. And it's not universal. It's not everywhere, and you don't always get it. And there's some issues with the transparency. Sometimes they don't really tell you what format you're getting, or it could change over time, or things like that. And it is difficult sometimes to know where the source content came from. And that is one of the nice things you get from a CD. You could typically prove where this came from, where this originated, and there would be multiple masterings of this, and you could pick your favorite one. And you typically don't have that option with streaming. So for very, very picky people, it is still inferior. However, that's not an inherent technical limitation. It's just a current implementation. So
yeah, like there's some of those CDs that were come out of Japan or the UK,
yeah,
that are rare because
Yeah.
there was only so many made, and
They're going for
they're
like
not here in the US.
$600.
Yeah, they're not really here. So when you stumble on it on eBay or something, I got to get that one because that's supposed to be the best sounding
it's
one.
a good one.
Yeah, there's just variations in the recording quality, and you're right.
Mhm.
There are, same with me. I know there's, I like Nils Lofgren, but I only like one of his CDs.
Mhm.
And it's the live one, and it's the one I like, and all the rest sound average to me. But that one was exceptional. And it's like that with a lot of stuff. So yeah, and which one you're going to hear on a live stream? Probably not that
That's
one.
Well, you hear that a lot,
You know?
especially with very popular artists.
I don't mean
Especially
live stream,
older
but-
popular artists, like streaming
streaming,
services. Because
yeah.
I remember there was plenty of people that they were streaming something like the Beatles or whatever. And
I was
I
gonna say
wonder,
Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
wonder which there was a
There's 100
common one, right?
variations.
Yeah.
Wonder which format or whatever, what pressing this one was ripped from, or whatever, what master. And a lot of these people were actually able to tell, apparently, from a few seconds in playback. So
Yeah.
I don't know what cues they got, but I
Yeah.
guess it's obvious to these
They just-
people.
they just
you listen
know.
to it all day.
I mean, they just keep coming out with new ones. There's like a 2021 version now.
Yeah.
pretty bad.
And you don't have choice when you just go to
well,
Apple
it's
Music.
bad when you're like Sirius Satellite's playing in the car and the screen's telling you remastered and whatever.
Yeah,
It's part of
yeah.
the song title. It's like, do I need to know this? It's what you're playing, but yeah, they're actually telling you.
Well, that's so
You know,
low
what was-
bit rate. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
right.
satellite.
But I'm just saying they're spelling out the version.
Yeah.
Maybe people are interested in that. I mean,
Well, maybe one day people will have a dedicated audiophile music streaming service, which you would kind of sort of think we had, but not really to like the super tech nerdy extent. And they will give you every option. They will tell you this is from this mastering, in
That'd
this
be
day,
wild.
this location, and give you all the details and whatnot.
Let's kinda
And
get in there.
For the same song, you have 12 different formats.
yeah,
You could pick and choose.
Yeah, little
And
drop down box.
They
Here's
tell
all
you
the
exactly
variations.
the format. They guarantee it over time. They don't just remove things
I
for
don't
no
know,
apparent
does
reason.
Title probably has multiple.
They do have
albums
multiple.
to choose.
So it
from.
tells you.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's not
On
clear.
some stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's not formatted in a way that's elegant.
Yeah, right.
You got to search for it.
Well, and that's something we got to get familiarized with Rune too, because maybe they do something a little bit differently too.
Working on it.
It's a much more organized. You're supposed to start the ball rolling on that so you could teach us, but it's a much more organized interface from what I understand. So we'll see what that has to offer, because we already know what everything else does. So anyway, so yes, I guess we started a video with a
Our
vote
CD
of
is dead.
0 for 3. Yeah, except for Douglas over there.
Yeah.
Overall, 100%, yeah, they're dead. But that doesn't mean they can't be still used.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, there's
and it's still
cases.
being used.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have it, if you already have the equipment, you like it, it's serving your purpose. Obviously, that's fine.
Well, and it's kind of like
Why
the vinyls
change?
lovers thing too, where I mean, to them that's a treasure hunt if you're looking for CDs
Mhm.
that you never had too. It's kind of, a lot of people are getting rid of them the last many years, so those are probably available for $1 or $2 at garage sales, whatever, used, right? Hell, you can even buy used CDs online for cheap, right?
Yeah.
Amazon even.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
new, they're cheap.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're very cheap.
So technically speaking, I could see it's if you don't have a turntable, then that would be the equivalent of the vinyl lovers thing, treasure hunt.
Yeah. Well, I guess what it comes down to is through moving to my house, I transferred no CDs. I do not own any CDs,
Oh,
but I do have records. So.
yeah, yeah. So there you go. Who would have thought we'd be going retro? this
Nobody
day
would
and
have
age?
guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember when the one vinyl store by us, it was down Transit, I forgot what it's called. When that one went out of business, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
15 years, 20 years or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Record
And
City or whatever.
For the
it was.
longest
Record
time,
Theater.
it was,
Record Theater, yeah.
it was so dingy and dumpy because
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah,
they
right.
didn't have people coming in,
They
right?
weren't investing any money.
And yeah, it was so obvious at the time they went out that it was going to happen for
Yeah.
the longest time. But it finally went under, and nobody was shocked.
That's true. Actually, those stores
Who
were
would have
huge.
thought it
Yeah.
would have came back?
Yeah,
It's amazing.
those stores were huge. I
Mhm.
mean, we're talking. It had aisles and rows and rows.
Well, for a
of
long
all
span, it was
records.
gigantic.
Yeah.
They were physically large stores.
Yeah. And then they converted it. They started selling CD instead, so the
Yeah.
stores got smaller.
Mm.
But that didn't really
And
work.
Amazon took all that out.
It was the beginning of the end.
Well, then
once
they
the
were in
CD
like
came.
bookstores in the back,
Yeah.
started selling CDs.
Mhm.
yeah, Barnes and Noble
Barnes
still
and
has it.
Noble, yeah.
Oh man, we went to a Barnes and Nobles in Rochester, New York. I don't know if it's a 2-story Barnes and Noble.
Oh,
Freaking huge.
never seen that.
Yeah, you go up the escalators, you go upstairs, and half the side of the building there is all records and mostly all albums and
Mm.
stuff. Yeah, big Barnes and Nobles. It was fun to walk through. I didn't
Mm.
buy anything
Mm.
because it's all new, and I don't know what to pick because I don't know what sounds good.
Yeah.
But, but bottom line is, so there's the bookstores still certain ones have.
It's kind of funny because
Records.
I remember when Media Play went out of business. And when was that? Like
Like
early 2000s or something?
07, something like
And
that.
I was thinking at the time, the store was filled with like CDs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking at the time, who's buying these? Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking this format's dead. Although it was still used widely then,
Yeah.
to me, it wasn't like a relevant format anymore.
Well, at the time, your car still had a CD player.
It did, yeah.
Well,
Well, my car had a cassette player.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
It's
well,
true.
I'm not a book reader, but I can't even figure out who's buying all those books in this Barnes and Noble.
Right. True.
It's got to be 100,000 books in there. I'm like, who the hell?
People still buy
Who
books.
buys all this stuff?
Speaking of which, I don't know the answer. What's the last auto manufacturer? There's got to be someone that still has CD players in their car.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is, though.
I thought Lexus was the last
you mean
one. to have
brand
a
new
cassette.
cars?
The cassette was Lexus. Yeah.
Yeah.
CD, I don't know.
I
I don't know either.
Someone might still be shipping it
You would think
because
the
they
OEMs.
just like kept running some old nav thing that they had for 20 years.
Yeah, you would think the OEMs that manufacture that stuff it would have been done because the transports.
The
alone
decks are probably getting a lot more
expensive.
expensive. Or
Yeah. It's
transport,
It's probably
wherever
one
you come.
manufacturer now.
Yeah, you probably can't even get the transports anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Low
that's a
volume.
problem with tape cassettes. Like
Yeah.
nobody makes anything
Yeah, right.
for it.
Yeah, if you can't get the parts.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. You could get retro, newly manufactured tape players, but they're a lot more expensive than you would think. You
Well,
think it'd
even-
be like $5 or something? They're
Hmm.
not.
Well, even the home-based players too, the same problem. They stopped making transports. And
Right.
The guys that wanted to, like in the high end, the guys making CD players stop making them because they can't get the parts to make it.
That is a problem.
Mhm.
And they're not going to manufacture a transport.
Mhm.
Philips had that locked down, and pretty much once Philips says forget it,
Sony?
then it's game over. I think
Sony,
Sony and Philips, I guess. Yeah. There was only a couple key manufacturers
They made those by the
of
millions.
transports.
Yeah, they're pretty complicated devices, so if you make them low in volume, it would be crazy.
Yeah. It is amazing actually when you look at one. I remember when
So complicated.
first started working with CD back in the mid '80s.
Mhm.
Yeah, amazing the thing played.
It's amazing
You
how
look
cheap
at it like, wow.
the autofocus system was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It worked. Like it looks so janky, but it
And they are
functioned.
reliable. I've never had a CD player break.
When I worked for Bowers and Wilkins, and Rotel was also a brand they carried here in the States, we dealt with servicing it, and we had to tweak the CD. There were actually potentiometers and things to turn
Yeah.
to make, and you could make the CD player. You could watch the eye movement. There was
Oh,
actually
yeah.
some tools we had
Right.
to watch the eye movement, and you look at the eye pattern. They call it an eye pattern, which is the digital signal coming off what's picking off the CD. Anyway, bottom line is that it's wild to watch this thing work where the eye's actually focusing on the CD. You put a bad CD in there, like a
Yeah,
test CD,
yeah.
and
It's
the
just
eye's moving
struggling,
in and
yeah.
out,
Right.
like focusing an autofocus camera, trying to grasp the frickin'
There's videos on
track.
YouTube about
I
that.
did that all
Yeah.
the time. You would jam like a piece of paper or whatever into the little prongy thing, so that your portable CD player would think that the lid's closed and would try to read the disc.
Yeah,
You could watch the little laser thing move up
yeah, it
and
goes
down.
up and down,
stuff.
and it ultimately
And then you would
fails if it
shake
can't.
it to test out the little anti-skip feature,
Or you
and you
could
would see it scan.
Take
Yeah.
the metallized layer off a CD and have just a clear disc.
Yeah.
Blow its mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, this is we're now we're really getting
Oh, yeah.
too much down memory lane at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. CD is passe. It is what it is.
Pretty much, yeah.
Thumbs us up if you like this. Thank you for watching, everyone. Take care.